From a childhood investment that led to a massive payout,
Hey, what do we got here?
A whole lot of silver.
to one that left Rick with no cash left.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but you got a deal.
Awesome. Congratulations.
These are Pawn Stars, most expensive items bought ever, the $80,000 poker coin. Some people walk into the shop with a $50 bill. This guy walked in with a coin worth more than a Corvette, and he didn't even know it. He claimed he won it in a poker game, the 1922 High Relief Peace Dollar, one of the rarest silver coins in U.S. history.
Holy grails of American coins, and you won it in a poker. Yep. Whoa.
Rick could barely believe it. These coins were so rare, the U.S. Mint didn't even acknowledge their existence for almost 2 decades. Only about a dozen are known to exist.
They existed for like 15 years, and then all of a sudden some stories came from the Mint that they actually existed. So there's like a dozen of these things in the world.
At first, he wanted just $20,000. Rick nearly fell over. It was like someone walking in with the Mona Lisa and asking if he wanted it for store credit. So Rick called in a top coin grader, and sure enough, the coin was real, certified, and historic. One just like it had recently sold for over $100,000.
It's always nice to get called in on an exciting coin. This coin is particularly interesting, historical, and it's rare as hen's teeth.
Rick knew he had to move fast, but not too fast. He started the offer at $65,000, $45,000 more than the original ask. The seller pushed for $90,000. They went back and forth, until finally they shook on a deal, $80,000 in cash.
What about 90? I think 90 is fair.
You were willing to take 20 grand for it.
You weren't willing to offer me 20 grand for it.
What started as a poker night turned into one of the biggest payouts Pawn Stars had ever made. And just like that, the guy walked out with a briefcase full of cash and a reason to keep playing cards.
I made 80,000 on the coin. Super excited about it. Definitely going to keep playing poker. Hopefully I get another coin like this sometime.
The Fabergé jackpot nobody saw coming. When Peggy walked into the shop holding her grandmother's old brooch, she thought it might be worth a few bucks, just something she didn't want sitting in her drawer anymore.
Thing looks crazy. What is it?
It's a Black Widow.
Is it poisonous?
Chumley joked that it looked like a black widow spider and asked if it was poisonous. Peggy didn't even flinch. She just wanted it gone. But then Rick took a closer look and everything changed.
This guy became famous for his Fabergé eggs, but he actually made everything from silverware to necklaces to rings. And just about anything he touched is considered a masterpiece.
He told her what she really had, a Fabergé brooch. It was Russian imperial jewelry, the kind of piece worn by royalty before the revolution. Platinum, onyx, diamonds, sapphires in the feet, and ruby eyes. Peggy had been carrying around a piece of museum-level craftsmanship without even realizing it, and she only wanted a couple thousand for it. Rick, to his credit, didn't lowball her. He looked her in the eye and said, "I'd love to give you $2 grand, but I have a conscience." Then he dropped the real offer, $15,000.
Oh my God, you gotta be me.
No, I'm not. This is stuff you do not see every day.
Peggy tried to get a little more out of him, but he was firm on his offer. She knew it was hard for her to get the same offer again, so she went for it. Peggy had walked in with a dusty old brooch and walked out with life-changing money.
Oh my God, I'm so shocked. I mean, I couldn't believe it was worth $15,000. I hit the jackpot today.
The $111,000 silver haul.
The old man is crazy about silver. He's going to be like a kid on Christmas morning when he sees this.
This guy had been stacking silver for over a decade, not realizing what he was in for. He bought it back when prices were rock bottom, just $3 an ounce, and held on to it, waiting for the right moment to cash in. That moment was now.
90% silver dimes over here, some quarters. Got these bars, and this thing alone's almost 75 pounds.
Rick and the team started digging through the pile. 90% silver coins, vintage quarters, and massive silver bars, including one that weighed over 75 pounds. They double-checked everything for fakes, scanned the edges for copper, weighed the coins, and finally drilled and melted part of the huge bar to make sure it was real. The test came back clean, 100% silver.
So you have 3,372 ounces of silver.
That's when Rick dropped the offer, $110,900 for the full stash. The seller tried to negotiate, but even he knew that he was pushing it. Eventually, they shook on $111,000 even.
I'm really glad my dad taught me to invest, because today I'm walking out with over $100,000.
One of the biggest cash deals in the shop's history, the Colt revolver that made everyone jealous.
I want this thing, I want this thing, I want this thing, but I have to make sure everything checks out.
When Paul brought in this old Colt revolver, Rick didn't even try to hide how excited he was.
Hey, how can I help you?
I'd like to try and sell this Colt revolver.
This is cool.
A single-action army from the 1870s, nicknamed the Peacemaker, this thing was history. Paul explained he got it as collateral from a bond he issued. The guy never paid up, so the gun was his now, and he wanted $25,000 for it.
There's an appraisal on it. I took it in for $25,000. That's what they owe.
Rick was clearly tempted, but there was something weird, 2 serial numbers. That was enough to call in the expert. Alex came in and took one look and basically confirmed what Rick already knew. The gun was legit. Not only that, it had been featured in 2 major reference books, including the Colt Bible. The grips were hand-carved in Civil War-era high relief and came from the top firearm retailer in the US at the time. Alex said they were hen's teeth rare. Even with the serial number discrepancy, Alex said he'd expected to sell at auction for $35,000 and wouldn't be shocked if it went for $50,000 or more.
I would say that at auction, I would safely guess that this would sell for $35,000.
With that kind of praise, Paul came back swinging. He asked Rick for $40,000, but Rick was set on his price. They went back and forth until Rick locked it down for $27,500. A clean deal, no games, no drama, just a solid price on a one-of-a-kind piece.
We got a deal.
Great.
I'll meet you right over there.
Honey, pack your bags, because I'm taking this $27,500, and I'm going to take the whole family on vacation.
And Paul walked out saying he was taking the whole family on vacation. The $47,000 Gutenberg Bible page. When this seller walked into the shop, Rick had no idea he was about to lay eyes on a page from the Gutenberg Bible, the first major book ever printed with movable type.
Okay, this time I have brought for you the most incomplete book that I've ever brought. This is an actual printed page from the Gutenberg Bible.
It was a single leaf, taken from an incomplete copy in the 1920s and sold as a collectible by a famous book dealer. Just holding it was like holding a turning point in the history of the world. The seller asked for $65,000, knowing full well what he had.
I came up with a number, and you better brace yourself, but remember the importance of the book, of $65,000 for the page.
Okay.
It was printed in the 1450s on handmade Italian paper, hand-rubricated in red and blue ink, and still fully intact. Rick didn't argue. He called in the best expert he had. Rebecca Romney showed up and instantly lit up. She called it a chance most rare book specialists never get. She even joked that she was afraid to touch it because she might catch fire.
I would touch it, but I'm afraid I'd catch on fire.
After inspecting it carefully, she confirmed what they all hoped. It was real. It was from the Book of Chronicles, and it was worth about $80,000 on today's market. Rick started the negotiation at $40,000. The seller pushed back, asking for $55,000. They finally landed on $47,000, and Rick couldn't sign the papers fast enough.
I have a CFO in an office right down the hallway that's going to be really mad at me. So 47, we got a deal.
You're not going to be mad when you make a small fortune.
The secret London deal for Royal Pistols. Every once in a while, Rick gets a lead that's just too good to ignore. This time, it came from across the pond. His weapons expert Alex himself called with something big, but kept it secret. So, Rick hopped on a plane and flew straight to London.
From the looks of it, you definitely have some incredible stuff here.
If you follow us through into our back room, some of the rarest pieces we have in our back room.
So that's where you keep the good stuff.
He was brought to one of the oldest arms and armor dealers in the city, a family-run business filled with pieces that dated back to the Roman Empire. But in the back room, the real treasure was waiting. They showed him a pair of dress pistols made by John Christie, a royal gunsmith who worked out of his own private workshop in the Tower of London. Commissioned by King George III, the pistols were never meant to be fired. They were made to impress, crafted entirely from steel and gilt brass, with grotesque faces engraved into the butts and proof marks from the tower itself.
You'd never fire anything like that.
No, they weren't really designed to fire. They were designed to look good in basically informal wear, right?
Although they were completely functional.
Then came the price. The seller wanted 100,000 pounds, about 125,000 US dollars. Rick tried to work it down. He offered 80,000 pounds. No go. He came back with 85,000 pounds, around 105,000 US dollars, and that was the sweet spot.
I'll take 85,000 pounds. You have a deal.
All right, sweet. You just bought those. Oh yeah, I bought them. You just bought those.
The deal was done. Rick had just bought a pair of royal pistols made in the Tower of London and had to run out of there before he dropped more cash in that place. The ancient coin that shocked everyone. When Kevin walked into the shop with an ancient silver coin, he thought he had something valuable, but he wasn't totally sure.
Okay. I mean, this is really, really cool. How'd you get it?
From my understanding, it was purchased in auction 30 years ago.
He knew it came from a family member who bought it at auction 30 years earlier, and based on his research, he believed it could be worth around $20,000. Not bad for something he inherited in a will. Rick took one look and got curious fast. He explained that coins like this came from the Eastern Mediterranean and were used between Greek city-states to make trade easier. They were often struck by hand using massive hammers, which usually left the design off-center or distorted, but this one was almost too perfect. Rick admitted that for every real coin like this, there are hundreds of counterfeits.
These things go from anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000.
I could live with that.
But there's 500 fakes for every real one.
So, of course, he brought in the big guns, Vaghi, his ancient coin expert. And as soon as Vaghi saw it, he lit up. It was a Syracuse decadrachm, minted around 400 to 360 BC, featuring the water nymph Arethusa on one side and a chariot victory scene on the other. Vaghi confirmed it was 100% genuine. He praised the sharpness, the strike quality, and the metal composition.
Okay, I have news. It's absolutely genuine.
Then he dropped the value, $50,000. Kevin was floored, but now came the real negotiation. Rick offered $35,000, more than Kevin initially hoped for, but way under what it was worth. Kevin pushed back. Rick raised it to $40,000 and said that was his best. Kevin thought it over, then took the deal.
40,000 is fair.
Okay, all right, cool, man, this is great.
Do I get one of those big checks?
No.
He walked out with a legit ancient artifact on payday. But nothing came close to this one. The day Rick found the Wild Things. When Rick got a call about original artwork from Where the Wild Things Are, he didn't hesitate. He headed straight to a local gallery in Las Vegas. What he found was one of the most nostalgic treasures of his childhood.
We're talking Where the Wild Things Are, the greatest child's book ever. These things rarely, if ever, come on the market.
The seller had 12 original Maurice Sendak illustrations from the classic children's book, all one of a kind, in excellent condition, and larger than most of Sendak's original work.
It's always really difficult selling any artwork that you are so connected with, but I've had these for a while, I've enjoyed them, and now I think it's kind of time to pass on the torch.
Two featured the book's iconic monster, Moisha, and the boy king Max in all their crosshatch detail. Rick admitted it was one of the greatest books ever written when he was a kid, and he'd always been fascinated by the art.
When I was a kid, I was fascinated by the pictures.
Yep, me too.
It was something about the way he painted everything. It was so different than any other children's book.
The seller valued the full collection at $375,000, which would make this one of the biggest buys in Pawn Stars history. Rick brought in his art expert, who confirmed how rare the pieces were, especially since Sendak never sold original Wild Things art during his lifetime. He estimated the collection could bring $310,000 from serious collectors. With that in mind, Rick opened at $200,000.
I think they're amazing. They really are some of the greatest art I've ever seen. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $200,000.
The seller countered with $300,000, but after some tense back and forth, they shook hands at $250,000.
Bring them down to the shop, we'll do all the paperwork. They're amazing, man. Now you know where the Wild Things are.
Rick called it one of the coolest things he'd ever bought, and, well, he was right.